Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Democratic View. My name is Phyllis Italiano, and I serve as the hostess. And today I have a very interesting guest with us, a View-Gabrelle Scaparpaci, who is the Executive Director of the East Hampton Food Pantry. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, I would love to know a little bit more about you since we just really are meeting for the first time today.
Yes.
So I always like to start out with, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Brooklyn.
Aha, my father too.
Really?
East New York.
Oh, yeah, that's where my father was from. But I was born and raised in Bay Ridge.
Aha.
Right.
And you went to school, high school there?
I did. I went to Poly Prep in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
And then went off to college in Pennsylvania. Went to Washington Jefferson and studied in Europe for a while.
What did you major in?
I was an English and fine arts major.
Oh,
And I was actually pre-law, but then I decided not to go to law school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that English and fine arts, that'll get you a long way.
Well, I'm hoping.
Well, because I have
Yeah.
children who are all, I have two artists, and one is an English
Right.
person who now teaches.
Well, I think it's important if you can write and communicate well.
Yes.
That's half the battle. So,
Well, oh, that is more than half the battle. That's a great battle, too.
Yeah.
And when did you come out to this area?
16 years ago. Yeah, the end of July it'll be 16 years. So
16 years, so that makes it
1998, I think it was.
1998. My introduction to Hampton Bay is when my daughter bought a house in 1996. And I always like to talk about the time that I first drove out here to visit a friend of mine who was a fellow teacher and turned that corner and fell in love.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, that's quite a sight.
it is. Yeah, I'm happy out here. I don't think I could return back to the city and that way of life.
Yes. Yes, the city, I must say, is hard for me, too. So what did you do when you first came out here?
Well, I had a number of different jobs, but I started working with the food pantry at Windmill Village about 8 years ago. Windmill is it's a low-income senior housing development here in East Hampton.
I will tell you about my introduction to the word food pantry. And that is, we used to have democratic meetings at Windmill Village.
Yes.
And I remember walking in, and there would be hundreds of paper bags. And I would say, well, what's that? What is that for? And they'd say, food pantry.
Right.
I would go peek in to see what that was all about, because I had never really had any experience with that.
Right. Yeah, I think most people are surprised that there's a need for pantry out here, and actually there's a pantry in each town. It seems like at this point, we're feeding the most people. Like we fed over 31,000 people last year. The demand is really high. Even now, we're coming into the summer months, we're still seeing over 200 families a week. So, there's a great need in the area for help with food.
And so many thoughts flash into my mind. One of the things I was going to mention was that when Ronald Reagan took office, way back when, there were 400 food pantries. There are now 40,000.
I believe it.
And one in every 6 Americans partakes of food.
Yeah,
pantry.
absolutely. And there are a lot of children in this country that are going hungry. We fed over 10,000 children alone last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't want children to be hungry
No.
when their brains are developing.
Exactly.
It's a very important thing that they have the
Right.
proper nutrition.
Right.
So, where do you get your food from?
Well, we purchase most of it. We spend between $4,000 and $5,000 a week purchasing food. We used to just give out mostly canned stuff. But because we are at Windmill Village, where there are mostly seniors, we found that group of people have certain, dietary restrictions, things that they can't eat, salt and sugar mostly. So we decided several years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point, to go all fresh. So we purchase fresh produce every week. We have 5 or 6 selections of fruits and vegetables, and then we also have fresh dairy. We have milk, cheese, eggs, and butter. The people come through each week, and they can choose what they'd like, and based on the size of their families, how much food we give. And that's been really important to us, to be able to provide our clients with fresh produce and dairy each week, to supplement the staple bags that we're giving them as well.
So how do you get this with me? You go shopping for it?
Yeah, I mean, we do get some stuff donated, local farms, also different stores give us, bread each week. And then there's the Food Pantry Farm, which is part of Eco Farm on Long Lane. They supply all the pantries with some produce. But like I said, we purchase most of it. We have to fundraise all year long. We used to be able to just do like one fundraising letter around the holidays, and then between the different schools and the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts doing drives for us, we were able to get by. But after 2008, when the economy took a downturn, we really saw our numbers. They basically quadrupled within that 1 year. So we were hit really, really hard. And so now we have to fundraise all year long. And we try to do different fundraising things. We do the Polar Bear Plunge each year at Main Beach. And in the past we've done some movie nights, and we've had Western fairs and done different things, but we don't tend to make much money doing those. It tends to cost a lot of money to do these events. So we've been trying to focus mostly on these fundraising letters and trying to do articles in the papers and do interviews like this to just let the community know that we even exist, because a lot of people don't know that we're there, and that we are feeding their neighbors, and that we really need help, and food is such a basic thing. There's so many different charities that one can choose from, but feeding people is just the most basic necessity of all.
Yes, I know that my mailbox is full every single day with all of these requests for funds, and it's very
Right.
hard to decide,
Yeah,
where you're going to put your money.
sure.
I like to do mine in local
Right.
as can be.
Right, and we feel also that, when we reach out to the community, that if each community takes care of their own people, then, things would run much smoother, probably the rest of the world, if each community took care of itself. Obviously that's not always, you can't always do that, but, we try to keep things local and try to reach out to our local community.
How did you get this arrangement with the farm? I have a friend of mine who works at that farm, Ira.
Oh, yeah. Sure, well, they approached us a few years ago that they had started this farm and that they wanted to help each of the different pantries. So they grow, it's mostly vegetables, and then we get some herbs and some different things from them, some flowers. So, it's been a big help to us, and I know all the pantries have benefited from them.
And do you get this, of course you don't get it in the wintertime.
No, well, they have hoop houses, and they are able to grow some greens, but I think what they do is each year they give that stuff to a different pantry, because they don't have enough really to spread out with all the pantries. So last year was us, this year I think it was Sag Harbor, and then each year they'll pick a different pantry to just give food to in the winter. But in the summer we all get a selection of food from them.
And what about, I know I have often read that, as a matter of fact, I had Zach Cohen on here about the deer management, and he was mentioning that when and if they get to the point where there is deer, being taken care of.
Right.
I don't like to use the word killed because I'm so conflicted. But, I have this hate-love relationship with deer. But that they do donate to the food
meat,
pantries.
yes. We
And
do.
you do get deer meat?
Yes, we do, and we give that out to our clients, and they're very appreciative of that. We used to be able to give out meat every week. In the past, we would give out chicken quarters every week, but then, of course, when the economy took a downturn, we just couldn't afford to do that anymore. So we try to do it maybe once a month or so, and then certainly during the holidays, we give out meat, or we give them a gift card that they can purchase protein. We try to give them the full holiday meal.
And do you find that, that now that the economy seems to be doing better, and certainly there seems to be doing a lot of work out here in this particular period of time, this early spring when houses are getting ready, do you find that there are less people?
Yes and no. In the summer, our numbers go down slightly because people are back to work. However, that being said, even though they're working in the summer, they're not working all winter. So whatever monies they have saved is gone, by the spring. So they're really not able to live on what they're making seasonally. So while the numbers do drop slightly in the summer, but we're still seeing over 200 families a week, the numbers don't drop that significantly because people are just not able to survive on what they've made during the summer, and especially if they have children. If they have to raise a family and live out here and pay rent and pay for oil and food and whatever else, they're just struggling. I know personally several families where both the parents have 2 jobs each, and they're still struggling. They just can't get by. The salaries are very low, and if you're only working a few months a year, you just can't get by. So these people are the ones that really need the help with food. And then seniors, of course, who are on fixed incomes.
And yes, and I was going to mention the fixed income people.
Right.
That's also must.
Well, they clearly depend on us, for the majority of their food. And then, as we know, food stamps have been cut. So, I mean, that population.
Well, after all, we have to
really
send bombs in different places. The heck with food stamps.
Right.
That only helps the
I
people.
mean, I know, at Windmill, I think the average income is about $12,000 a year. So you can't live on that. You just can't, especially if you're taking medication and you have to pay for that. So I think, the fact that we are located at Windmill has been a tremendous help for these seniors that, need this extra help each month. And certainly to the community as a whole. 'Cause there really are a lot of people in our community who are struggling and just, need that little bit of help. And, some people don't come all the time. They may find themselves in trouble for a few months, and they'll come to us and we'll help them, and then, they move on. And then we find those people that come back and volunteer for us because they want to give back. They don't want to
that's
just
nice.
take. Yeah, so it's been really nice.
And how many people work with you?
Well, we have probably about 20 volunteers. And then besides myself, we have an operations manager, that we're paid salaries. But other than that, it's volunteer. We have a volunteer board, and then the volunteers. And we also have another a satellite in Amagansett at St. Michael's Housing. That's open from October through April. So we're done now for the summer, and then those people can come to us each week to get their food.
And is it just food?
Well, it's predominantly food. We often have clothing and housewares that people donate that we put out for our clients to take. But I mean, we're really just in the business of feeding people. So, that other stuff is nice, but we don't really focus on that. It's really, focusing on getting this healthy food to the clients that need it.
I mean, there's nothing like soap or anything like that.
We get that stuff sometimes. We do. But when I'm ordering stuff, and especially from like Long Island Cares and Island Harvest, a lot of it's based on weight. So I'd rather buy food than get these other things.
Right.
Because
Sure.
We only get so much money and so much weight that we can order. So I mean, obviously it's more important to feed them.
And do grants play a part in any of this?
We get some small grants from both Long Island Cares and Island Harvest, but their demand is up 60%, so they're not able to give as much as they used to. So it's sort of spread thin because so many more pantries have popped up all over Long Island now. So, their demand is up so much higher.
And is that when you go to the food store and the supermarket and you see those little tear-offs of giving $1, $3, $5, that goes to the organizations that help to provide some
Right,
funds for
yeah,
you.
that's correct.
So everybody should be ripping off those.
Sure.
If they're not sending a check,
Yeah.
they don't get that letter like I do and send a check, they should be also ripping off those
Right.
little things and adding it onto your food bill, your own bill, when you don't even notice it.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you're using, most of the time, your debit card.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
that would be a good way of making sure that you're contributing to this
Sure.
kind of thing.
And, Long Island Cares and Island Harvest are really great because they do provide help to, any pantry on Long Island that needs help. So and they give classes on nutrition and proper food handling. They have a lot of different services that they provide. And we take a class every year. We have to be recertified every year in food safety and sanitation. So we do that class each year.
So how does it exactly work? You get these, do you get deliveries or do you go out? And get
Once a month, Long Island Cares delivers to us. They have a menu, and we go through it, and there's like the different grants, then there's donated stuff, and then you just pick what you want. But, in the past, where I could order maybe 20 cases of peanut butter, now I can maybe only get 8 cases, just because their demand is so much higher, so they don't have as much product to deliver. So they deliver to us once a week. And then every week we order the fresh produce and the fresh dairy. So that's delivered to us on either a Monday or a Tuesday. Our distribution day is Tuesday. So we get the stuff in and then, it goes out Tuesday.
And do you like sort the stuff and fill up the bags? Is that
Yes, on Mondays, our operations manager works with a number of volunteers, and they lay out the bags. Usually you have between 200 and 300 bags out on the floor, like you were
like
referring
I
to
saw.
before. And they, decide what they're going to put in there for the week, and they go up and down the aisles, dropping the stuff in, and they have that done. And then Tuesdays, we get our produce and dairy deliveries, and then in the morning, we're getting the bread in, and we break everything down and get it ready for our distribution, which starts at 1 o'clock.
And how does one become a client?
Well, the only thing that we require is that you are that you live in East Hampton town. So anywhere from Wainscott to Montauk, as long as you're a resident. And you just come in. So we asked for a photo IDs for the adults in the household, and then either a passport or birth certificate for the children, and then proof of street address. And then you register with us, you get a card, and you can come every week. We don't ask for any type of, financial proof or, hardship. If you come to us asking for help, we'll feed you each week.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, we realize that it's difficult for people to come and ask for help. So, we try to give them as much dignity as possible and make it as comfortable for them as possible to come through the door, and ask for help. And, we'll help anyone that comes in.
So how do they get to know about you, though?
Well, you see, that's the thing, that a lot of people don't know that we exist. So we've really, the last year or so, have spent a lot of time and effort into just getting the word out there that we exist, that there is a pantry in every town, that we're all sort of struggling, and we're, feeding your neighbors and, the people that cut your lawn and that clean your pool and whatever else, that these are the people that are going hungry, that their kids are hungry. And, so we try to put articles in the newspaper, asking for help, and we do these events, and we put posters up around town. But
So if I wanted to give you some money, I wanted to send you some money, how do I do that?
well, you can either go onto our website, which is easthamptonfoodpantry.org, and there's a Donate Now button, or checks can be mailed to us at 219-50 Accabonac Road in East Hampton. That's our mailing address.
And so your job is exactly to order?
My job is pretty varied. I sort of oversee the whole operations of the pantry. So I make sure, that we have the proper food that we need each week, that we have enough volunteers. I answer the phone calls and the emails. People, either wanting to donate or to do community service or to help us out. I work with the board of directors and, work with them to try to get them involved in different things that we're doing.
Oh, you have a board of directors?
We do, yes.
Uh-huh. And how The rate of volunteers, are they the same people all the time, or does it vary from one?
Our regular volunteers?
Yeah.
We have a group of regular volunteers that we've had for several years, and they're wonderful. And then we get, the students have to do community service for school in order to
Right.
graduate. I think they have to do 30 hours.
Right.
And then, the courts and people that get speeding tickets and stuff, you can avoid getting points on your license if you do community service. I know in East Hampton Town, they have that program. I don't know about other places. So that's great. We've gotten some really great volunteers that way. And then just people that hear about us, will call and come in. So while we have our regular core group of volunteers, then we also have just, other people that will come in for a week or 2 weeks.
So if I wanted to become a volunteer, how would I do it?
Well, you can call us. Our number is 324-2300 and speak with me, and I can, set it up. I can let you know what we have available as far as, volunteer opportunities. And, we can come. And then we also, when we have our different fundraisers, and we're always looking for volunteers for that as well. And we try to put that stuff on our website so people know what's coming up.
So are you separate from, let's say, the Springs Food Pantry?
Yes, yeah,
You are
we're separate, yeah. And we have our location, and then we have our satellite in Amagansett that I mentioned before at St.
Yes.
Michael's Housing.
Yes.
That's open from October through April.
Uh-huh.
But every pantry is run separately, Montauk and Springs and Wayne
So there is
Scott.
one in Montauk. That's my next question is that, what about Montauk?
Yeah, they're at the Catholic Church there.
St. Teresa of the
Yeah,
Sea.
you can go there once a month, although I believe they're closed in the summer. So we have our pantry then, so those people then can come to us.
Uh-huh. Well, they better make sure they watch the traffic.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
traffic.
Montauk. And how many hours, let's say, does it take to fill up all of that, those bags?
The
that I
bags on
saw?
Mondays, well, they're usually there, it depends on what time the deliveries come in, but they're usually there from like 9 to 1 or 9 to 2, depending on how many volunteers there are to help and how many bags we're making that week. If we have bags left over from the week before, then they just have to make the rest of them.
And is this for you a 9 to 5 job, or do you find that you?
No, it's a part-time job. I work at Windmill Village as well. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah.
So you do this part-time?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must
Yeah.
keep you very busy.
It does keep me very busy, yeah. And my mom helps too. She volunteers there every week, which has been really nice for her. So,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, yeah.
You work with your mother. You're your mother's boss. How wonderful.
Exactly. I
I
don't know
would
if she
have
sees
loved
it
to have
that
been my
way.
mother's boss.
But yeah, she's been a great help to us.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And she lives in East Hampton. You live in East Hampton?
We live together in Sag Harbor, in North Haven.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she came to live with me about 4 years ago after my dad passed away, so.
Uh-huh. Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's
it
wonderful
is
for you
nice.
that you have that kind of camaraderie. You can talk shop
Exactly.
when you get home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Who does the cooking, her or you?
She does.
She
She
does. Well,
doesn't want
that's
to
a-
eat my cooking.
That's even better.
That's
you
even
know,
better. It works
having
out for me.
Yeah, I'll say. Oh, yeah, I know. It's always nice to have somebody else doing the cooking. Well, I have my son, when he comes, he does the cooking. And what a mess. Great cook, but what a mess.
But he doesn't want to clean up.
No.
And my brother's a chef, so we have the same situation.
Oh,
He
your
doesn't want
brother's
to
a
clean up.
chef?
Yes.
Where?
In the city, at a restaurant called Niles. It's diagonal from Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So you're all involved in food.
Yes, we are.
It must be the I on the end of your name,
It must be, yeah.
Scaparpaci.
Except my mom is German, so. I
Except
don't
your
know.
mom is German, but not full German.
No, she's full German.
Oh, she's full German.
100%, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But she was married to my dad for 46 years, so she has that Italian infused into her somehow. So.
Yes, I'm sure, because, for Italians, food is life.
Yes,
Food equals life.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been a very fulfilling life for you to be able to be helping people on a,
Yeah,
I always say that it always amazes me with people. I'm a former teacher, a school administrator in a very ritzy private school and a very poor district. And it always amazes me that there are some people who give of themselves to help others. And there are some people who just take, and it's like the world is divided into two kinds of peoples. And the truth of the matter is, I don't understand what is it that makes some people want to give to help in the world, and some people just want to sit on a pile of money. It's quite amazing that do you know what makes you want to give?
Well, I just find it very fulfilling. You know, it's been, you know, I sort of just like fell into this, and it's really been a great experience for me, and I'm really happy that it's worked out that way.
Well, I always felt the same way about teaching. You know, that, you know, anytime, and I was in elementary too, that helping a kid, you know,
Yeah.
to realize something about that their lives are in their own hands,
Right.
you know, it was very, very fulfilling for me too as a person to give to the world. But I always had a Joan of Arc complex. But I forgot she burned at the stake. You know,
did, yeah.
that was my my downfall, was that because it's a hard job teaching.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm sure yours is a very hard job.
Yeah, it's challenging, but like I said, it's very rewarding, and you know, it's nice, especially on a Tuesday when we're giving these people this food, that we're making an immediate impact on their lives. Like, we're giving them their dinner for that evening, or actually food for a few days.
Yes.
And you know, just to see like the look on their face, or that they're sort of relieved that they're going to be able to feed their kids that night. Really, you know,
Oh my
after all
God.
these years, it's really, you know,
Holy
made a big
mackerel.
impact on my life.
I can imagine. And the kids, do they come in with the parents?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, not always, but they do come in.
So you get to see the children as well.
Yep.
Nothing like children. Children are the best, as far as I'm concerned. Give me a kid any day to an adult.
Yeah, and it's nice for my mom, because she, you know, she sits at the desk and checks the people in, and so she's gotten to know a lot of these families and the kids. You know, a lot of the kids like will hug her, you know, which has been really nice for her. She likes that,
That's
and that she gets to know them, and she then realizes that she's making an impact on their lives as well.
I hear our music.
music.
Yes, very nice. Thank you so much. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
you
much.
coming.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
and don't forget, folks, give.